In this Vector Life video, I'm going to be talking about my hands-on impressions with Code Vein 2. I was graciously invited to Lyon, France, the headquarters of Bandai Namco Europe, in December. Got to play about 2 or 3 hours or so while I was there. So I want to talk a bit about what I like about the game, what I don't like about it, and also what's similar to the first title and what's different. So before I get into that stuff, though, I want to talk a little bit about Code Vein if you're not familiar with it. Code Vein is an anime-esque, Souls-like title that came out 5 or 6 years ago, I believe. That was kind of really the beginning of a slew of Souls-likes that came out afterward. There are a lot of games like Lords of the Fallen, Lies of P, and things that came after Code Vein, but Code Vein was really like kind of the first major Souls-like, production value-wise at least, that came out in a slew of them. And it was a game that I saw many times at many preview events, and initially I wasn't too sold on the game, but when I got my hands on the full title, I actually really enjoyed it, mostly because I do enjoy anime. I watch a lot of anime in my free time, and if you're an anime fan, it seems like a no-brainer for you. But also, I really loved the blood code system in the first game. The blood code system was a way that you could essentially switch classes on the fly, so that if your current build wasn't working, you could try a different one and see if you could get through a challenging boss in the game with that build, and then, keep changing your blood codes at will. So you could play the best of both worlds in, different scenarios. You could be a mage, or you could be a warrior, or you could be a ranged character, given on, whatever the situation was. And the game was also very challenging and had some very challenging boss fights. So it wasn't a pushover either. And those are things that I really enjoyed about that game. So when I heard there was going to be a Code Vein 2, I was a bit surprised, but not completely surprised because I really did like that game. But there are some fundamental differences in the two titles between Code Vein 1 and Code Vein 2, and I want to talk about those first. So talking about the differences, probably the most noticeable one you'll notice immediately when looking at the gameplay, if you're familiar at all with the first title, is the art style of the game. They've kind of gone in a different direction with the art style. It's still very anime-esque, but it's more three-dimensional than the previous title was, in my opinion, particularly in the cutscenes and things like that. They've kind of gone with like three-dimensional character models. And I really like the art style of the landscape. The landscape's art style is absolutely phenomenal, in my opinion. I really love what they've done with that, so I can't wait to see more of that. I didn't get to see a ton of the landscape in the time that I played, but the bits that I did see look great. I'm not so sold on the character models. I don't know if this is an actual improvement over the first game or not. It's different, I would say. You may like it better if you didn't like the first game. You may like it worse if you liked the first game. I can't really say if it's better or worse in terms of the character models or not. I think I prefer the character models of the first game more. It's more traditional anime, but it's fine the way that it is. And the next change, potentially even a bigger change, depending on how you look at it, is the open world nature of Code Vein 2. Code Vein 1 was not open world. Code Vein 2 is, and this is going to allow you to go all over the landscape and have one big interconnected world, which is quite a departure from what they did in the first title, which was, not like that at all. And probably one of my biggest complaints with Code Vein 1 was its level design. It felt weak, it felt kind of bland, and this is a big upgrade from that so far from what I've seen. I haven't seen a ton of the open world yet. I did get to play a small section of it, so the jury's kind of still out on how well they've done the open world. But you're seeing this in other games happening right now as well. Neo 3 has gone from its mission-based games in Neo 1 and Neo 2 to open world in Neo 3. So a lot of titles are trying to capitalize on this. We'll see if it pays off for them. I think this is a good move generally. It felt a little bit like Nier Automata when I was exploring in terms of like the landscape and the dystopian kind of like post-apocalyptic world, the way it looks and feels. But we'll just have to see how it plays out. I think generally though, this is a good move because the level design was probably the biggest complaint I had in the first game. And the next big change is regarding blood codes. Blood codes don't contain skills anymore. They did in the previous game. Each blood code, if I remember correctly, had 8 skills or 10 skills, somewhere in there. And it always had one skill that you could only use if you used that blood code once you learned it. The other skills, once you mastered them, you could actually move them around to other blood codes. I really like that system. It forced you to use the blood codes and just even try them all out so you could unlock all their skills to use with other blood codes. And it also made it so that you had to use certain blood codes if you wanted to make a build around that one skill that it had, which was really cool. In this one, though, you only have the stats from your blood code. It's only the passive stat spread that you have, so your weapon selection will be determined by your blood code. If you like a particular weapon, you'll switch to a blood code that best suits the scaling of that weapon. And also blood codes can be leveled up so you can make them stronger. If I'm not mistaken, it's tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 of the same blood code. So I think you can level up each blood code twice. So there is also that, which is new from the first game. And I don't know how I feel about this. I really liked the system in the first game. I loved that it made you experiment with different blood codes. And I also love that if you really wanted to use a skill that only that blood code had, you had to use that blood code and make a build around that blood code, which made a lot of different builds because, you wanted to use these very cool specific skills. And in Code Vein 2, with that being gone, I feel like there's probably going to be, half a dozen blood codes that are just better than the rest in terms of their stat spread, and everyone will use those for their builds. So we'll just have to see how that plays out, but I think that might be a step in the wrong direction overall. Another change to the game is that in the first game, you had an ally that would come along with you that, would fight with you. And in the second game, you can actually absorb your ally into you and get buffs that make you a bit stronger, or you can play with your ally out. You can kind of switch modes on the fly if you want. That way, like if you like playing bosses solo, for instance, and you don't want to have an ally, you don't like that co-op experience, you like the challenge of playing by yourself, you can have the ally absorb them and fight the boss yourself, or you can keep them out if you are a player who loves to have like the extra help of an ally. I really like the fact that it's flexible, and it's also flexible on the fly, so maybe you really like to do the boss solo, but you don't care about the level, you can have your ally out on the level and then not for the boss fight. I really like that. That's a pretty cool change. And there are also other mechanics around your ally that are pretty cool. For instance, like when you don't take damage in combat, your ally will get stronger up to a point. So the better you're playing, the better your ally is going to be in combat. The more effective they are, the more damage you take, the weaker they will get. So that's pretty interesting. Additionally, your ally will disappear if you go down when your ally is out in order to revive you, and then come back a little bit later, and you'll get less and less health each time. So there's kind of like almost like a Shadows Die Twice mechanic in there, which is kind of cool as well. And the last thing I'll say that is different is the UI is definitely improved from the first title. It looks a lot better. I spent a lot of time looking in the menus, and I actually like the way they look now, which was great. They were very minimalistic, bare bones in the first game, and they definitely felt like a JRPG. For whatever reason, JRPGs typically don't focus too much on the UI, whereas Western RPGs tend to, add more production value to it. They've definitely done some of that in this game, and I like it a lot better. It's not perfect. It's still a little bit on the minimalistic side, but it's definitely improvement of the first game, so I like that. So talking a little bit about the similarities of the game, character creation is still absolutely phenomenal in Code Vein. It's even better in this game. I spent a lot of time in character creation. You can make whatever character you want. You'll see my character on the screen. This is the character I spent making. Don't judge me. Thank you very much. I was in the character creator, so obviously I had to do it. And I think the character creator is going to be a big draw for this game for people. It's just absolutely outstanding the way that it is, and you can spend so much time on it making your character look exactly how you want. Another thing that's similar is combat remains tight and challenging. It feels good. The combat is good. The same mechanics pertain to combat in the sense that you cast your skills that are on the bottom right hand of the screen using your Ichor, and you gain Ichor from attacking enemies, and you can drain Ichor from them with your claw or fist or whatever, thing that you're using to do it. That is there still, and there's challenging boss fights. The boss fights were very challenging, so I expect there to be some very, very difficult bosses in this game as well. So that aspect, which is a huge part of what made Code Vein so good, is still in the game and remains more or less unchanged from what I've seen so far. Skills are also similar to the first game. You have some weapon-specific skills, ones that can only be used with specific weapon types. And there are returning skills from the first game. I noted Adrenaline is in there, Blade Dance is in there. Those are both buffs, by the way. I don't know if all of the actual attack skills are in the game from the first one, or some of them are in the game. I suspect that they are from what I've seen. So you're going to see returning skills from Code Vein 1, and there are, of course, new skills as well. I think there are 7 weapon types in the game, which is pretty similar to the first game. So you're going to see, certain skills you can only use with certain weapons in there, and that remains very much similar to the first title as well. The story of the game is also kind of told in the same manner. There are cutscenes that, for the bigger story moments, but there are a lot of flashbacks, if you will, kind of like the first game, where you're reliving moments of certain characters' life, kind of going through it with them with this music in the background that's usually pretty melancholy. This was also the case in the first game. I really dislike this method of storytelling. This is something that I really wish they would have changed from Code Vein 1 to Code Vein 2. It's just uninteresting. It's bland. A lot of times the music is louder than the dialogue, so you can't hear. And it just feels like this could have been done better with cutscenes. Obviously, that requires more budget and animation. But it's just not a great way to tell a story, and unfortunately, that's a big part of the storytelling in Code Vein 2 as well. So all in all, I'm looking forward to Code Vein 2. I am a fan of Souls-like games, which should be no shock to you given our channel. I love anime. I watch a lot of anime all the time. I just finished watching the last season of One Punch Man. Unfortunately, it wasn't very good animation-wise, so hopefully the next season is better. But I do love anime a lot, and I think if you're an anime player who loves Souls games, this is going to appeal to you. I'm hoping the open world nature of the game will make the exploration improve over the first title. It should, by all accounts. You get a motorcycle, by the way, that you can use to explore the level, which should be kind of fun to drive around on. Got to do that a little bit while I was there playing as well. But I think even though there are a couple steps backward, for instance, the blood code system, I don't think is going to be an improvement overall. We'll see. I'll reserve final judgment for the full version of the game. And the storytelling didn't have much of an improvement, in my opinion. I do think the open world nature of the game, I do think the art style of the landscape is particularly interesting. I like those things. And also, if you didn't know, there's a bit of time travel in this game. So that's a bit different than the first game. I forgot to mention that in the differences section, but you will be traveling backward in time to see events that kind of cause the events that are happening today, which is pretty cool. So I'm excited for this one. If you liked Code Vein, but you wished it was a bit better, we might get that from Code Vein 2. Just depends on, if some of these changes pan out or not, but I'm looking forward to finding out here pretty soon. I'm hoping to get a review copy sometime in the near future, and obviously, hopefully get a review out right around launch of the game. So I'll keep you guys posted, but you guys can expect a review on our channel right around the launch, depending on, when a review embargo is, etc. So what do you guys make of the game so far? Is this music to your ears, the open world nature, the changes to blood codes, or do you think the blood codes is a bad change? Do you like the character creator of the game? Do you like the concept of time travel? Do you think the UI is improved? What do you make of the skills not being attached to the blood code? Let me know in the comments below.